Halloween has its origins in a 2,000-year-old Celtic holiday called Samhain. October 31st represented the end of summer and the beginning of the dark, cold winter. The Celts, who lived in what is now Ireland, the UK, and northern France, would celebrate their new year on November 1st. They believed that on the night before the new year, the veil between the world of the living and the dead became blurred, and ghosts would return to earth. People would gather to light bonfires, offer sacrifices, and pay homage to the dead. During the celebration, they wore costumes made of animal heads and hides, and also attempted to tell each other's fortunes. By the year 43 AD, the Romans had conquered the Celtic territory. They brought along their own traditions, and during the 400-year Roman rule of the Celtic lands, the two festivals of Feralia and Pomona were combined with Samhain. Feralia was a day in October when Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead, and Pomona was a day to honor the Roman goddess of fruit and trees, whose symbol was an apple. As for North America, by the middle of the 19th century, annual autumn festivities were common, but Halloween was not yet celebrated everywhere in the country. The first celebrations included play parties, which were public events held to celebrate the harvest. Neighbors would share stories of the dead, tell each other's fortunes, dance, and sing. Colonial Halloween festivities also featured the telling of ghost stories and mischief-making of all kinds. In the second half of the 19th century, America was flooded with new immigrants. These new immigrants, especially the millions of Irish, helped to popularize the celebration of Halloween nationally. Several Christian popes attempted to replace pagan holidays like Samhain with their own holidays. By 1000 AD, All Souls Day on November 2nd was a time for the living to pray for the souls of the dead. All Saints Day, or All Hallows, was assigned to November 1st, and that was a day to honor saints. That made October 31st All Hallows Eve, which later became Halloween. There's an old Irish folktale from the mid-18th century that tells of Stingy Jack, who was a lazy and shrewd blacksmith who used a cross to trap Satan. One story says that he tricked Satan into climbing an apple tree and placed crosses around the trunk, or either he carved a cross into the trunk so that Satan couldn't get down. Another version says that Jack was getting chased by some villagers who he stole from. He met Satan, who told him it was time for him to die, but he stalled his death by tempting Satan with a chance to torment the church-going villagers that were chasing him. Jack told Satan to turn into a coin that he would use to pay for the stolen goods. Later, when the coin disappeared, the villagers would fight over who had stolen it. The devil agreed to this plan. He turned himself into a silver coin and jumped into Jack's wallet. The only thing is, there was a cross that Jack picked up in the village in his pocket as well. Jack closed the wallet tight, and the cross stripped the devil of his powers, and he was trapped. In both versions, Jack lets Satan go only after he agrees to never take his soul. When Jack dies, his life was too sinful to go to heaven, and since Satan promised not to take his soul, he was barred from hell as well. Jack had nowhere to go, so he asked, how would he see where to go if he had no light? Satan tossed him a burning coal to light his way. Jack carved out one of his turnips, put the coal inside it, and began wandering the earth for a resting place. He became known as Jack of the Lantern or Jack-o'-lantern. During some Celtic celebrations of Samhain, the villagers would dress up in costumes made of animal skins to drive away ghosts. Food was left out to please unwelcome spirits as well. In later centuries, people began dressing as ghosts, demons, and other creatures, and they would perform tricks in exchange for food and drink. This custom was known as mumming, and it dates back to the Middle Ages. In 1000 AD, when the church designated November 2nd as All Souls Day, which was a time for honoring the dead, some of these celebrations resembled Celtic celebrations of Samhain, complete with bonfires and masquerades. Wealthy people would give out pastries called soul cakes to poor people in exchange for prayer for the souls of dead relatives. This was known as souling. The practice was later taken up by children who would go from door to door asking for gifts such as food, money, and ale. In Scotland and Ireland, young people took part in a tradition called guising, where they would dress up in a costume and accept offerings from different households. Rather than pledging to pray for the dead, they would sing a song, recite a poem, tell a joke, or perform some other trick before collecting their treat. Trick-or-treating got really popular in the 1950s when Halloween became a big national event. Halloween parties for both children and adults became the most common way to celebrate the day. Parties focused on games, foods of the season, and festive costumes. Parents were encouraged to take anything frightening out of Halloween. Because of these efforts, Halloween lost most of its superstitious and religious overtones by the beginning of the 20th century. Today, over 179 million Americans celebrate Halloween and spend over $9 billion every year. In the 1700s and 1800s, women used to perform rituals on Halloween in hopes of finding a husband. They would throw apple peels over their shoulder, hoping to see their future husband's initials, and also bob for apples at parties, and the winner would be the first to marry. They thought standing in a dark room with a candle in front of a mirror would make their future husband's face appear. In Ireland, a cook might bury a ring in her mashed potatoes on Halloween night in hopes to bring her true love to her. In Scotland, fortune tellers would tell women to name a hazelnut for each of her suitors and then toss the nuts into a fireplace. The nut that burned to ashes rather than popping represented the girl's future husband. In some versions, the opposite was true. The nut that burned away symbolized a love that would not last. Another tale had it that if a young woman ate a sugary concoction made out of walnuts, hazelnuts, and nutmeg before bed on Halloween night, she would dream about her future husband. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed. Happy Halloween. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you can know the next time I upload a new video. And I will see you guys the next time. Peace.